This morning's docket is case number 110108 in the matter of Ray Randy Sutton.
May it please the Court, Kate Baird appears on behalf of the Disciplinary Administrator's Office. Chief Justice Ness, may I reserve 2 minutes for rebuttal, please?
Did you say 2 minutes?
2 minutes for rebuttal, please.
Granted.
I don't know, this is Ray Sandy Sutton? Is it? I don't know if I misunderstood.
That's correct.
Okay. I know beginning of the proceeding we had the wrong letter in the name, so I wanted to make sure that it was correct. Ray Sandy Sutton. May it please the Court, by all accounts, this respondent was a valuable and active member of the bar for a considerable period of time in the Kansas City area. He practiced for some 45 years, largely on the Missouri side. He did have a Kansas license and is approaching his 50th anniversary of that. He was licensed in Kansas in 1966. He did transfer his Kansas license to inactive status in 1984. He testified at the hearing that he retired in 2002 from what at the time, from Interstate Bakeries. He'd served as corporate counsel or in their corporate counsel's office for some 34 years, general counsel for 25 years. Retired as general counsel. He advised the hearing panel that he now stands as an unsecured creditor in the Hostess bankruptcy proceeding. Since 2002, he has continued to practice in both the Kansas and the Missouri side. And I'm asking the court, hoping that the court can influence Mr. Sutton to either stop practicing in Kansas or reinstate his license. Take the steps necessary to be granted the privilege of this court to practice law in Kansas. He testified that there had been a series of clients in the municipal courts and in the district courts of Kansas over between 2002 and 2012. He was advised by District Court Judge Sunby in the Leavenworth County District Court the day before a jury trial that he could not practice on an inactive license. A young district attorney brought the matter to first the attention of the respondent and then to the court and said, it's my understanding that he doesn't have an active license to practice law. Judge Sunby engaged in an exchange with the respondent. Respondent told him, I'm doing this on a pro bono basis, does it make any difference? Judge Sunby said, no, you cannot practice on an inactive license. The matter was initiated in our office. We advised Mr. Sutton of the concern, and in March of 2013 he appeared again in front of Judge Cameron in the District Court of Johnson County. Our office requested that the hearing panel find that Mr. Sutton had engaged in the unauthorized practice of law and that they order a definite suspension and direct that as a condition of reinstatement that he complete all necessary steps to reinstate his license here.
As a practical matter, how soon could that be done, or how much does that entail, both monetarily and hours of CLE? Does he have like CLE from 1984 to make up, or?
Well, I made that inquiry as recently as yesterday. The question was posed of the respondent at the hearing. It's my understanding that he continued to do CLE on the Missouri side, did not present information of that CLE on the Kansas side, but wouldn't necessarily have been required to do that as an inactive attorney. If my understanding is correct, I was advised that it would require this respondent to demonstrate that he has completed the necessary CLE for the registration period of 2012 and 2013, pay $100 should he seek inactive status, $120 should he seek active status. And then I'm not certain what the fees would be for attorney registration.
Part of what I'm getting at is the panel recommended 30 days, but have a reinstatement hearing and comply with CLE and pay up the fees. And the 30 days is pretty superfluous, or it really has nothing to do with the sanction, because as a practical matter, it's going to take months to get reinstated, isn't it?
Yes, as a practical matter. And given, even without this disciplinary process, it would appear under the rules that he would have been required to provide a reinstatement questionnaire to the court because of the long length of time that he had been on inactive status. So some of those substantive issues would have been addressed by the court, whether it's in the context of a disciplinary reinstatement for a disciplinary hearing or the change in the status of his license. Our concern, I have wavered on this largely because it does appear to be an individual who has provided quite a service to the bar. And should Mr. Sutton opt to do what is required of all lawyers, and that is to provide to this court what we are required to provide in terms of satisfying registration requirements and certification of CLE, whether those hours were done here or on the Missouri side, that he would certainly be able to practice here. But once it was demonstrated that even after Judge Thunby told him he couldn't, and even after the disciplinary process began, that he continued to practice and appear in front of Judge Cameron in the Johnson County District Court, we were asking for the weight of the court to impress upon Mr. Sutton that if he elects to practice here, it's necessary that you have an active license to do that. And I have nothing additional to add unless the court has questions.
Any questions of counsel? Thank you.
Good morning, Your Honors. I apologize for having to take your time on this. Let us just say that at the age of 76, I'm going to retire and no longer practice law. So, with that, any questions?
Are you turning in your license to practice law?
No.
No. You're just telling us today you're voluntarily going to stop practicing.
Correct, Your Honor. My latest practice has all been pro bono, and they can do it pro se, or they can do it, get someone else to represent them. So that's basically it.
Are you taking that position or that kind of
No.
stage in your life because that's what you want to do? I mean, if you want to
Not
contribute to the
necessarily.
profession in a benevolent way, which you've been doing,
Not
which we appreciate,
necessarily, but
why don't you go ahead?
Everything I've done in Kansas has been on a pro bono basis.
I understand, but why don't you go ahead and activate your license and continue what you're doing if you're fulfilled by it?
Well, at the age of 76, and my former employer only owes me $832,000 in the bankruptcy court, which I'll never probably see a dime of. That was my 30-year pension at $85,000 a year, which was very nice at the time, but unfortunately, I retired and they went into bankruptcy and did away with my pension. So anyway, like I say, it's a lot simpler for me just to not practice law in Kansas anymore.
Thank you. Any further questions? All right, thank you, counsel.
Thank you.
We reserve 2 minutes for rebuttal.
Chief Justice Ness, I'll waive rebuttal unless there's a question of the court.
Any questions? I see none. Thank you, counsel. Thank you both for your remarks this morning. Court will take this matter under advisement.